Welcome to the Sarasota County Eldercare channel, brought to you by Mike Levine and the great folks at Home Instead of South Sarasota County. Today's guest is Rosemary Shugar, parish nurse at San Pedro Catholic Church.
Hello, my name is Marianne Gordon with Home Instead Senior Care in Venice, Florida. Welcome to the Eldercare channel of Sarasota County. Today I'm here with Rosemary Shugar, registered nurse at San Pedro Catholic Church in Northport, Florida. Rosemary is the parish nurse there, and I have some questions I want to ask you about that. How are you today, Rosemary?
I'm fine, thank you.
Well, Rosemary, can you tell me, I find that when you told me you were a parish nurse when we first met, I thought this is very unique. I've never heard of this before. Right. Tell me how this parish nurse process came about.
Well, about 10 years ago, there was a couple who left a trust fund for the seniors of San Pedro. And it was Joseph and Mary Marshani, and it's their memorial fund that subsidizes the whole program. And it pays for 25 hours a week of a registered nurse and all the programs that we present to the parishioners. And it has to be for the seniors, that's specified in the fund.
Okay, I just find this is such a wonderful cause given the large senior community down here. Now, I know that you have something that's called the Home Alone program. You have several programs. Let's start with Home Alone. What is that?
Yes. Home Alone is where we have volunteers who will call our parishioners who live alone, and they just give a quick phone call between 8 and 10 in the morning just to say, hi, how are you? And you know, just a wellness call kind of thing. So.
And that's so big for some seniors who just do not have anybody to look in on them.
Right.
How do you identify the seniors? How do you become cognizant that these are seniors in the parish that need some sort of help?
Well, it can be a neighbor who refers, another parishioner, the parishioner themselves sometimes will call with other needs, and then I'll ask them if they would like a phone call, in the morning just to see how they're doing when I know they live alone. And also, when somebody comes home from the hospital, I like to go out there and see if there's something that we can do to help them that Medicare doesn't cover, because they'll get home health care, which that's my background, and they'll get physical therapy and nurse and home health aid and OT, speech, all that, but Medicare doesn't cover for somebody to come in and clean their house, like run their vacuum, do things that are kind of little too much for them to do in the first 4 to 6 weeks after getting home from the hospital.
Yeah, after an illness or surgery. And that's called your Helping Hands program.
Right.
Who are the people that go in and do that for you?
Volunteers from our parish. We just have, an ad in the bulletin once in a while saying anybody would like to help with this. And believe it or not, I have a lot of retired LPNs and RNs in our parish who still want to do something for people. And so they're probably, one of my biggest contributors to, these programs. But I certainly don't do this myself. I mean, I have a lot of volunteers.
You couldn't.
Oh my gosh,
No.
And same as the Respite program. Last year when I started there, that was most of my phone calls were people who needed respite from their spouses or parents or whatever who had Alzheimer's, dementia of some kind, and they just needed to get away for an hour or 2 or 3 a week, just go to the library, to do anything. And so I trained the volunteers who answered my ad in the bulletin, and then we trained the caregivers themselves to be, to understand where their person was, and so then they just call and say, one man worked at the polls, and so he called and he said, I'm going to be away for 12 hours. I can't leave my wife for 12 hours.
Right.
So we had a nurse who volunteered, and she went over there, and she was diabetic, so that worked out really well because she helped her with her
her insulin and blood sugar. And just the respite side of it is, it's one thing to be caring for the senior that needs the care, but if we find here at Home Instead that if the caregiver at home is not getting that break, their health can deteriorate. So it's really it's something for the caregiver, and it's also something for the senior who needs the care. A wonderful service. I'm looking at a couple of other things. You do a lunch and learn. There's a lot you do there.
Yeah, lunch and learn is once a month, and we get a good response from that because 11:30 we have a speaker, and they can be anybody from the community, including doctors, physical therapists, hearing aid people. This month we're doing Medicare changes in 2017, and that's a big one. And then after the speaker, about 40 minutes or so, then we have lunch, and it's free. And there's a time to socialize, and it's like till 12:30, 1 o'clock, something like that. And everybody looks forward to it because they get knowledge and they get good food and socialize.
Right, and socialization. Get out of the house and do something. And that's another thing that with people who are in their homes and they're seniors and they're not getting out. Being able to socialize is something that keeps them going, learning, keep their mind going.
What's new out there,
I also noticed that, there's so much to do. I'm going to skip down to, you do bereavement classes.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what does that entail?
I'm starting this Wednesday, October 5th, and it is a 7-week course. It's an actual, a course where we take a chapter a week for 7 weeks, and it teaches the person how to make understand a new normal for themselves, how they can function now without that person that they lost. And that could be, parents as well as, when I have a lady who just lost a daughter. She's in her 90s and she lost her daughter who was in her 70s. And she's, so it's not just spouses, it's,
Right. And the bereavement process, it can be, not only is it difficult, but it can vary in length depending on different people.
Right.
Sometimes I found that men who had lost their wives go through that bereavement process so much longer because I don't know whether it's because typically, or maybe I should say stereotypically, women do so much in the house, and then when they're not there, there's such a big black hole, a big void.
Right.
So getting the community together and teaching people how to deal with that is and also people then can socialize with themselves and help each other with the process.
Oh my gosh! So the spring class, they just got together. So I had it in the morning last spring, and they would start going out to lunch together the second time. It was like they just build a bond with each other, and they still are together to this day. And that was back in April or something. So it's because you share that same experience,
right?
And it's just a good thing. It's just learning how to live a new normal.
I think that your programs are outstanding, considering the number of seniors who do not get out, do not have family locally to check in on them. When you talk about, the Home Alone Daily Wellness Call, to me, I wish that was something that my parents had when they were home alone, somebody to call them and say, hey, Tom, Connie, what's going on? Everything good?
Right.
And the fact that it's paid for by an endowment to San Pedro is just wonderful.
I know.
Well, Rosemary, I would love to have you come back, and we would also maybe film something over at San Pedro. Sit in for one of your bereavement classes when you have that 7-week course. We'd love to here at Home Instead. We're always looking for ways to get our clients the services that they need, and obviously you have a great thing going there.
Yeah, I love my job.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Again, I'm Marianne Gordon from Home Instead in Venice, Florida. Thank you for watching the Eldercare channel. Until next time.